The late afternoon sun spread a soft golden glow over Riverside Heights, a quiet suburban neighborhood where lawns were trimmed sharp, mailboxes freshly painted, and kids rode their bikes along the sidewalks. On Willow Drive, a modest two-story home stood still. Behind its white blinds lived Marcus Hill, a black man in his mid-40s. To his neighbors, he was polite, soft-spoken, maybe even too quiet. He dressed in casual clothes, went for morning jogs, and kept to himself. Nobody knew much about him, except that his eyes carried a sharpness, a depth, like they'd seen more than an ordinary man's share of the world. Marcus was brewing coffee when a hard, deliberate knock echoed through his front door. Not the knock of a neighbor, not the knock of a friend. It was sharp, authoritative. He set the mug down, his brow furrowing. Through the peephole, he saw two men in navy jackets with the words HOA Police stitched in white. Their belts carried radios, cuffs, even holstered weapons. One of them barked, "Sir, open the door. We're here on official homeowners association business." Marcus didn't move. A faint smile crossed his lips, but his eyes narrowed. The taller officer spoke first. "Sir, step outside. You're in violation of multiple HOA rules. We're placing you under arrest." Marcus tilted his head, speaking calmly through the door. "Since when does a homeowners association carry handcuffs and sidearms?" The men stiffened, exchanging a quick glance. "Sir, do not resist. We don't need to escalate this." Marcus chuckled under his breath, his voice low, almost teasing. "You already did." From across the street, curtains shifted. Neighbors peeked out, whispers spreading like wildfire. An elderly woman clutched her dog tighter. Two teenagers filmed from the sidewalk, phones capturing every second. The imposters noticed the growing audience and grew bolder. "Last warning. Come outside now." Marcus sighed, finally unlocking the door. He stepped out slowly, broad shoulders filling the doorway, his presence suddenly different, heavier. 5, the fake officers moved in, grabbing Marcus by the arm. But the moment their hands touched him, his stance changed. His body turned solid, immovable, like stone. "Don't," Marcus said softly. His tone carried weight, calm but commanding. The imposters hesitated, confused by the sudden shift. "Sir, you're resisting arrest," one barked. Marcus locked eyes with him, his voice smooth and deliberate. "Arrest? You don't even belong here." The neighbors murmured louder. One whispered, "HOA police, that's not even a thing." The teenagers laughed nervously as they recorded. The imposter's confidence began to crack under Marcus's unflinching calm. Marcus leaned in slightly, lowering his voice so only they could hear. "You picked the wrong house." For the first time, the taller man's hand trembled on his holster. One of the imposters pulled out fake paperwork, waving it. "Violation of HOA guidelines. You've been reported multiple times. Trash bins, yard overgrowth, noise complaints." Marcus cut him off with a sharp look. "You don't even know my name." The man stuttered, caught off guard. The entire neighborhood was watching now, tension buzzing like static in the summer air. Marcus's calm voice sliced through the noise. "I'll give you one chance to walk away." The imposters didn't move, their faces stiff, sweat beading along their brows. One slowly tightened his grip on the weapon at his hip. Marcus didn't flinch. He stepped forward into the fading sunlight, his shadow stretching across the porch like a warning. His eyes glimmered with something dangerous, something no one in that neighborhood had ever seen. "All right then," he whispered, voice low but heavy. "Let's do this my way." The crowd gasped. The imposters froze. The air was thick, heavy, charged with tension. Marcus stood tall, unshaken, while the two imposters tightened their stance. One's hand twitched near his holster, the other shifted uneasily, sweat trickling down his temple. The neighbors whispered, their phones held high. "Who is this guy?" someone muttered. Marcus's voice broke the silence, low and cutting. "You've got about 3 seconds to make the smartest decision of your lives." 10. The taller imposter lunged forward, grabbing Marcus's wrist. In a split second, Marcus twisted his arm, disarming him with fluid precision. The man cried out, his fake badge clattering to the ground. Gasps erupted from the crowd. The second imposter froze, hand on his gun, but Marcus was faster. His voice thundered, "Don't even try it." The imposters were no longer in control. Marcus had flipped the script. 11. Marcus straightened, holding the man's weapon in his hand like it was nothing. His calm voice carried across the neighborhood. "You pretended to be law, but the law is me." The imposters blinked, confused. The neighbors leaned in closer. Marcus reached into his back pocket, pulling out a black leather wallet. With a single flick, the golden shield glimmered in the fading light. FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. The crowd gasped in shock. The teenagers' phones shook as they zoomed in, capturing every second. The imposters' faces drained of color. The taller one stammered, This isn't possible." Marcus stepped closer, his voice sharp and steady. "You walked into the wrong neighborhood, pretending to hold power, but power doesn't wear cheap uniforms." He tossed the disarmed weapon to the ground with a heavy clatter. "You see, gentlemen, I hunt men like you." The imposters tried to back away, but Marcus's presence pinned them in place. "You thought I was just another quiet black man in the suburbs," Marcus said, his tone carrying a deadly calm. "But I'm the reason people like you don't sleep easy at night." He signaled subtly, and from the street corner, 2 black SUVs rolled in. Doors swung open. Real federal agents in suits stepped out, weapons drawn, surrounding the imposters. The neighborhood erupted in murmurs of disbelief. The imposters dropped their fake gear, hands raised, voices trembling. Marcus's gaze stayed locked on them as real agents cuffed their wrists. "Impersonating law enforcement, attempted unlawful arrest, and whatever else we find on you," Marcus listed coldly. Neighbors cheered, phones recorded. The quiet man from Willow Drive was no longer just the neighbor. He was something entirely different. 15. An elderly woman who had always waved shyly at Marcus stepped closer. "Mr. Hill, all this time you were FBI?" Marcus finally softened, giving her a rare smile. "Ma'am, I was just trying to enjoy a little peace." The crowd laughed nervously, but their eyes carried respect now, a respect born of revelation. Later that night, Marcus sat alone on his porch, sipping the coffee that had gone cold earlier. The street was quiet again, but the weight of the evening lingered. He looked out across the neighborhood, his mind steady. To everyone else, he had been a mystery. To him, this was just another day, another mask removed, another threat dismantled. In his chest, he carried a truth. Strength wasn't in noise, in fake authority, or hollow threats. Real strength was in silence, in patience, in waiting until the right moment to strike. Marcus leaned back, his voice barely a whisper. "Wrong house, boys. Wrong house." If this story moved you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us here at Voices of Freedom. This is the place where we share powerful stories of struggle, strength, and justice in the Black community. Your support helps us keep these voices alive and heard. So subscribe, like, and share, because together we keep the fight for freedom alive.